But I was like, yeah, for him to use the Lord because his own people crucified him. So it's like, I mean, when you really consider the state that they were already in, they didn't even recognize him as the Messiah. So I could see how the Lord and like his death, that could have been like their official condemnation. Because yeah, some of them were going to repent. Some of them did, I'm sure, but then a lot of them didn't.
Yeah, because even Paul talked about that. He was like, Israel, I'm done with you. Like, I've already, like, tried my best to the extent of what the grace and whatnot, and revelation and wisdom that God has given me. And now you're not even receiving what I'm saying because you're just stuck in, this religious, whatever you want to call it. So I'm going to go over here to the Gentiles and talk to them because they're listening.
Mm-hmm.
And it's their time. And maybe that's also, too, why he was like, to the Gentiles, don't think that you're higher than the Israelites or whatever, because your purpose is to make them jealous, to bring them back to God.
It's funny, like how many people have read that in Romans and completely ignored that chapter. It is blatant with what he says. Like, if he's trying to make you jealous, that sounds like a lover. Like, that's exactly
Like,
what that is.
look,
Like,
I want your attention, and I want you to like come up and kiss me. So I'm gonna act like I'm interested in so and so. What? Honestly, I'm not really. It's just I'm kind of,
I'm bitter.
I'm looking over.
Yes.
Yeah.
Aw, that's his loyalty is incredible to me. Like, just proving like the whole marriage and divorce thing. Like, he divorced us, but he remarried you again. So it's just the idea of like, I mean, you're still in my mind. I found a way for us to get back together, type of thing. Which I like our brother Doug Hamp from well, I think yeah, that's his YouTube channel, Doug Hamp. I was trying to say like I don't know his ministry, but because I think you said Triumph and Truth was the one that you could read like receive from for some reason, but yeah, even like brother Doug Hamp, like the father has to like abide by his own law, and like the Torah says that if a woman divorces her husband or if she was divorced, she can't remarry the same man. So technically, we're remarried to him through Christ. So he found a way to like. Yeah. Aw. Yeah. I would love to like ask the Lord or just interview him. Like, why do you still want a people that don't care about you? I mean, I get your heart. It is like that kind of picture, that romance story of like he's the one longing for his wife to come back. He's the one that's madly in love, and like he said in Corinthians, what love is hopes all things, believes all things, endures all things. Like it's like that constant hoping she'll come back, she'll come back, and she's stubborn. She doesn't want to come. I mean, not all of them anyway. Oof. So I wonder if like, I guess the main question I was trying to get at was like, when it comes to people that he chose to be the nation of Israel, well, he says in scripture, it was nothing about you. It was nothing special about you and why I chose you, because y'all were a smaller nation in comparison to all the other ones. He said, but because I loved you. So I'm like, okay. So what makes us different from the other nations? Or it's just a question of like, why is he so, is his faithfulness due to his own character and him abiding by his own word? Or is there something significant to the person that he chose to marry, type of thing? Like,
It sounds like there is some specific significance to it. Because he brought that up. He's like, you're not a big nation. You're just this itty bitty little pumpkin seed. Like, So I feel like to a degree, yes, it is. And I kind of wonder if it all goes back to Abraham because of that relationship that was specifically with him, and then that covenant.
right.
And then somehow it just kind of, maybe because, like,
Or
for
maybe
three
even Noah.
generations.
Well, yeah, technically. I guess Abraham would be more appropriate. You're right. That's true. He always talked about Abraham, honey.
Yep. And it was Abraham, his son Isaac, and then Jacob. Those three generations, they were close to the Lord. Even going down to, Abraham, Isaac, Jacob.
Yeah, dealing with like their descendants, he would
Uh
always
huh.
say, because of your father Abraham, because of his obedience, because of his faithfulness, like I'm dealing with y'all. So maybe okay, so that's what I was saying. I was like, he's saying is we're not important, but I mean, there has to be some significance to the people that you chose because you're still passionate about them.
Mhm.
Because realistically, he did get tired. He did what anybody's spouse would do. Like, I'm tired of your crap. I don't want to be with you
Right.
anymore. I divorced you.
Yeah.
So I'm like, he not gonna put himself into that situation again to where he
Mhm.
feels more obliged. Like, okay, I just deal with these people because I got a covenant with them. Ain't nothing deeper than that. So I think it does go back to like his character and his faithfulness and probably what he's hiding in his heart. These people are a byproduct of my friend Abraham. I think he sees it like that. Like
Mhm.
if I betray y'all, I betray him. I'm sick
Mhm.
of you, and that's why I divorced you. But
As
reflecting
for
on that,
me,
yeah, that friendship and that relationship, like I promised him I would be faithful to. Oh, that's what it is. Dang. Like yeah, I promised Abraham that I would do all this stuff for him. I would make his descendants a nation, and so I have to stick to that. So the love is appointed to somebody. It may just not be specific individuals.
unless they actually cultivate that relationship with him to actually get that love.
So I kind of see it as like so I don't know. It makes you wonder, like, did Father intend to have a personal? That's a dumb question. Of course, he did with all of us, but I mean, just to break it up in specific, detailed relationships. Like, so was his heart set on blessing Abraham and his descendants because they're part of Abraham, or did he intend to have a relationship with all those? I don't know. I think I'm saying it weird because I just kind of see it like there's this guy who has this big house taking care of all these kids and they don't respect him at all. And somebody asks him like, "Why are you let them disrespect you like that?" And just talk to you. And he's like, "Man, I'm doing my friend a favor. My friend back in the day, we used to be really close, and he passed away. And I told him that if anything happened to him, I'd take care of his."
I'll take care of him.
I think it's something like
Yeah.
that. Like,
Yeah. I agree. I definitely agree. It's definitely more along those lines.
wow, man, I wish we could meet men with like the character like God. Like he's faithful. Like that's a real friend. He's really loyal.
Mhm.
Oof. Keeping promises. That's evidence right there. He does keep his promises. Like Abraham's long gone. Well, he's with him technically, but
I know.
if for all you know, if he turned his back on Israel again, Abraham's there with him. We can look at him like, wait a minute. Hey, you told me.
Like, God, hang on, we gotta sit down.
It ain't fair. Like I know, like I done my part, and I'm here now, but you can't just do that like that. I'm sure the Father probably has conversations with Abraham in heaven too. Like, I really want to cut your people off. Like, I'm tired of them. I'm going to divorce him a third time or a second time.
Dude.
He can't do that though. There's so many witnesses up there with him. Then there's the court. I don't think he
Mm.
wouldn't do that. Whew. I know him and Abraham have to be so close up there. They have to be. So you're best friends on Earth, and there's that relationship, and now y'all are like,
Actually, within
yes,
in the same like spiritual scope, you can see each other
yeah, and
and touch each
converse.
other, and yeah.
He loves him, especially since I still believe, like we were talking about the other day, I still think Father looks like a human. I think the whole mystery of like his appearance, like I think because he's a spirit, he can make himself like
Look
bigger.
certain
Yeah,
ways.
but I think if you were to see him and Abraham together, it would be like just two guys walking and friends.
Just chilling, just drinking some tea, talking, no big deal.
Yeah.
Right under a tree or on the beach.
Jesus, the faithful friend. I'm gonna seek the Lord for more of that relationship, that quality of His character, because I feel like that's really the foundation of the just faith in Him and
Mm-hmm.
the promises and stuff that He gives us, and yeah. All right. Um. So yeah, she said, I wish that I understood more about this field with greater clarity. It's the scientist in me, I suppose, but I would love to know the how and why of it all. As much as I like to understand these things, often understanding how it happens doesn't matter. Sometimes the why is important, but even then, general knowledge about the issue is typically sufficient. What to do with the storage cubby once you suspect that it is there remains fairly consistent, regardless of individual details. So you still got to deal with it, you know.
Either way, it is what it is.
Yeah. While my curiosity is left unsatisfied, people are still able to find freedom, which is the most important thing. These fractured parts can have increasing levels of sentience and ability to interact with the authentic self. Oh, don't I know? On the more significant end, some can actually take over the person's body with or without the authentic self being aware of what has happened. There seems to be some correlation between the severity of the trauma and the degree of autonomy the part may have. Autonomy. Brandy. I said autonomy.
Anatomy?
It's autonomy. I said autonomy.
Oh my goodness.
Okay, I came up with a new Pokemon creature.
Anatomy.
Autonomy. That sounds like a name. All parts have this in common. They have all yielded ownership of part of the soul, generally to the enemy. They are created to assist the authentic self in surviving trauma. At least that's the intention at the time. It sounds like a good idea, and it does work, at least partially. The problem with the higher functioning parts seems fairly obvious. When they take over, your authentic self is not always the one in control of what you are doing, saying, etc. This can cause issues with relationships and in the workplace when one of your parts surfaces that acts and performs vastly differently than the authentic self. However, even when storage cubbies are on the milder side, the problem is that part of the soul is held hostage by those emotions. As long as the emotions are not dealt with, that part of your soul is stuck at whatever age you were when it was formed. In the case of fragments, and especially storage cubbies, the healing process is usually nowhere near as traumatic or as lengthy as physical healing from big injuries. The process is fairly straightforward, and we'll talk about that more as the book progresses. Chapter 2. Diane speaking. Introduction to Fragment. You're not going to sleep, are you? Are you sleepy?
No, I am sleepy, but I'm not asleep.
Oh man. Let me just stop reading if you end up falling. I mean, obviously you can't if you've fallen asleep, but like
Pre-sleep, I'll let you know, like, hang on.
yeah, like I'm dozing, you can stop reading. Okay. So introduction to fragments. I've often taken in prayer. I've often taken people in prayer back to the womb to pre-birth memories for the sake of healing the root of their
I
issues.
keep hearing that. Like, Dan was talking about that. So there must really be a thing about this pre-womb or the being in the womb.
The
Like, you can
infancy.
actually have.
Yeah. The embryo. I'm like, man, y'all taking it way like
So it is a person. The moment
exactly.
that sperm hits that egg.
Exactly. I'm like, the next they're gonna take it like to a universal like state, like when you were just a thought by the Lord, and the trauma that you experienced being that
Oh,
thought.
God forbid.
Can you imagine like an in fragment being like, well, thank you for allowing me to come to the surface. One thing I took personally is when I was with Yahuwah, everything was fine, everything was perfect. And then I come into this woman. She want to complain about me, how she don't want me, she don't know who the daddy is, and has so many thoughts. I mean, I could feel the thoughts. She act like I wasn't a part of her. I was a part of her. I felt all those emotions. So like, what if all the double mindedness that like the mother experiences when she's pregnant?
It's transferred into the child.
Exactly.
Ooh.
And the child like is born with like this double-minded kind of like indecisive tendencies because that's basically what the freaking mom was dealing with. She didn't know whether she wanted to abort you or whether she wanted to keep you.
That's a whole another level of like, because I don't know about you, but I have noticed like just personally in myself, like characteristics of my mom that are in me, whether they be positive or negative characteristics, if you know what I mean. So that would take it to a whole to another level to be like it wasn't just like something that you saw and was taught via like what you have
Exactly.
seen.
This is transferable stuff we're talking about
Yeah.
that took a part in like your makeup.
Mhm.
So it's like, yeah, so all the deep stuff that Dan talks about, there has to be some truth to that because like you said, it's not just what you were taught as a child and what you experienced that shaped who you are. You were being shaped
As you were
in your
being
mother's womb, like the father said.
wow.
So that's deep. Like, yeah, so all these energies and feelings and emotions, you can experience trauma in the womb because whatever the heck she's experiencing,
You're experiencing. But
yeah,
that man, that takes it to a whole other level of like when we get pregnant, we're gonna have all this understanding about like
thank God. Yeah,
wow.
to prevent that and be
Yeah.
more careful. Like you, so you even have to take care of your mental health even more so when you're pregnant because I have to make sure I'm okay so my baby's okay. You gotta think about
Yeah.
her.
Yeah.
Yeah, or him. So yeah, so I'm glad the Lord like is using people to bring that up. Like you do need pre-womb therapy. Y'all need to go that far back because only because what you are dealing with could date back to trauma in the womb that you don't even know about.
Mm.
And then you got to consider stuff like domestic violence the moms probably go through, physically getting punched in the stomach, like stuff like that happens, and then you're
Mm-hmm.
born, and it's just like
That actually happened to my mom. Her second husband, Tony, he got mad that she got pregnant and threw her down the stairs.
exactly.
I don't even know if she did. I think that was Steven she was pregnant with. Mm-hmm.
If I have to think about, okay, let me see. The only thing I have in common with my mom is like the mental illness thing. I've seen like Jezebel try to manifest like that schizophrenia, retardation thing on me a lot. It's a lot of parallels between me and her, and I've been like fighting that. Like I'm not gonna end up like that. The hell, like I see
Mm-hmm.
what she's become. I mean, a lot of
Mm-hmm.
that is due to reprobation, of course. I'm not reprobate, but I mean, I can't say what was transferred to me from her in the womb versus what I may have learned just being around her. Because my mom does have, how I have that really outspoken, just goofy personality where I just say anything and it's just
Mm-hmm.
kind of like, Brandy, are you serious? She does that. That's how my mom is. So I'm like, I don't know if I'm really like that or if I was raised around her and she's always been like that.
Like that. That
Yeah.
would have to be something you'd have to take to the Lord in prayer and ask Him to give you revelation on. Okay, are there any specific traits or transferences that happened during in the womb?
Mhm.
And that makes me wonder if there are external things as well if you can pick up on as not just like your mom because I mean you're growing and again being formed inside of her,
Mhm.
but like say if the father was giving uh certain vibes, like for example saying like, oh well I never wanted you to be pregnant in the first place and getting all upset like if the fetus not only feeling the mother's feelings of what she's hearing the father say
Mhm.
in that rejection, but the child also registering what the father is speaking as well. Like you know what I mean?
I believe there could be some truth to that simply because you have soul ties. Your parents are the first people that you ever have a soul tie with. So I
Mm-hmm.
believe like even though the seed was planted being formed in her womb, I still believe there's like that spiritual umbilical cord, so to speak, to the dad, and that could be something that yeah that infant could understand if he's acting like that and displaying behaviors and stuff like that because you have a soul tie with him. So, girl, this is why you need two healthy parents before you make a child because by default, and like this is why people. Yes, the Lord wants you to be fruitful and to multiply. Yes, pop out the babies everywhere. That's what He wants. But like, I mean, that He intended for us to be healthy though to do that. And it's just like the reality is when you fornicate and when you get pregnant, like everything that this man is, like we were just talking about his DNA, his emotions, his spiritual inherited curses, all of this stuff.
This could be
That's a
transferred.
seed that you just allowed to be. Ugh. You know how I see it, like how they talk about like in the supernatural when it comes to like curses and stuff, or just I just see it as like a dark orb just coming into this person's like energy field. I forgot how they call it, something like specific, some type of field, and it's just manifesting and spreading whatever is within its DNA. That's how I see like a sperm like seed. Everything that this man is a part of himself, because literally he has to take a part of himself and he puts it in you.
Mm-hmm.
So you're screwed. Like, wait, the default. As a child, like, man, I think the Lord probably put some type of protective, supernatural covering or shell over that, the formulation of that baby, but like, you're screwed. So, yeah, it's true. Like, everybody needs deliverance.
Yeah.
Everybody has to go through that breaking down process of, the seed cracking and all of that. We have to go through just that sanctification mode because
Oh yeah.
born into sin, shaped in iniquity.
Mm-hmm.
God, that is so crazy. Like, that just encourages me to just get so healthy before I have kids. At least as healthy as I can possibly get. Um, so like you said, it's a good thing that we're learning that stuff now. The
Mm-hmm.
part that we can get done, hopefully, well, I don't know if the Father will allow it, for us to be fully and completely healed before we actually, start creating babies and stuff. But at least you can get like the generational curses out the way we can
Yeah,
do
like get out of
spiritually.
the way. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Nisha's watching and she's laughing at us. Like, hey Nisha, but so I feel like even if my child was born with some ailments, whatever they could be, I would make sure that they're as minute as possible so I can.
Mm-hmm. Go through it, and also too, I'm pretty sure I had heard my old Jamaican friend. She was talking about there was a woman in her church who, when she was pregnant, she would pray over the child,
Hmm.
and she actually saw like this little imp-looking thing like running off of her or whatever, and running off the child. Like she had broke some sort of curse off the. So you as we are also learning too,
Right.
we could still continue to be covering the
You can
child
cleanse
and
your womb.
doing deliverance. And I'm sure whether that
Right.
child's in the womb or out as well, like as Father gives you more information, revelation on things,
Exactly.
you can be like, okay, I'm covering myself and my child since I'm recovering for my child. I have that authority to cast this demon out and all the curses and whatnot that are in place to that child and get that out of the way while they're, you know.
That's the best way to do it is in womb deliverance and healing for the baby. So it's kind of like even though your child is being formed and it's growing, you have to treat it like it's a human that's already here, like a
Mm-hmm.
person before it even gets here, including the traumas and, wounds they may experience while they're still being formed. Like, okay, like make sure they feel better. Like, counsel to them, talk to them, like,
Yeah.
so that's crazy. And then like the whole supernatural work of it all with praying over them. If there is something that's being formed that shouldn't be there, that's literally changing the makeup of them like that's crazy in the womb. That's while they're still protected, that's the best way to do it before they get here. But what I was gonna say, I didn't finish my statement, is that I wanted to make sure that it's as minimal trauma. Keep sliding off. Can hear you. Hmm. Okay, so this is Diane. Her chapter is actually really short. It's just 2 pages. Introduction to Fragments. I've often taken people in prayer back to the womb to pre birth memories for the sake of healing the root of their issues. When I came to the relevant area in the womb where a person needed ministry, I asked the Lord to heal that problem. Then I wouldn't look for any further matters in utero after they received healing in that one area. I ended the prayer session right there. Years ago, through a personal healing experience, the Lord showed me that this was incomplete as it left the person without full healing. During a time of personal crisis in which I knew I was operating out of woundedness, I called a prayer counselor friend and asked her to pray with me. She felt that I needed to go back to the womb for ministry. I had gone to the womb for healing previously, but I did it again because I trusted her discernment. I discovered some issues that had happened in utero about the third month, and we continued to process through additional issues until birth. Afterward, I watched in the spirit as that part, aspect of me, grew up and was integrated into the rest of me. I felt it. I was surprised because I had no idea that this part existed. Whew. Which that's the parts that everybody talks about in inner healing ministry, that some of them can't talk. They're not old enough to talk. That would be the babies. The infants, the embryos, like wow. And it's crazy to think that the embryo could be the main fragment carrying the most trauma. And you would never think that, because you would think, oh, it's the actual older fragments that because stuff happened to them, they're carrying out. Like, no, it could be the babies. Yeah, they had the most transferred to them. But they don't know how to deal with that. Wow. That's crazy.
Well, that confirms my dream that I shared with you about me carrying that baby.
Mm-hmm.
That was my fragment.
She said she didn't know if she could talk or walk. Can you crawl?
No.
Do I look like I can crawl? Like, is she really looking at me like I can talk right now? You're supposed to know what to do.
Come on, woman, get together. You're big, you're grown. I'm not. See, look at me.
Oh, those stinkies. I would love to meet my child altar. The Lord's never shown me any child altars in dreams. I felt that there was more to this experience. I started praying and seeking the Lord about it, and He showed me the scriptures about double mindedness in James 1:8 that says, being a double minded man, unstable in all his ways. I looked up double minded, and the root of minded is psyche, which means soul. Double means twice, so being double minded means you have two souls. How can that be? Two souls. The Lord showed me that what I had been taught before about double mindedness, one foot in Him, one foot in the world, was not correct. Thank you. It's not what that means. Like, yeah, that's not what that means at all. Okay. Double mindedness means two souls or two minds. What I felt the Lord was revealing to me was that many people have a part or parts of their soul that were stuck in trauma while they were a child. This fractured off part of ourselves speaks within us an internal voice that wants its own way. So that's the double mindedness. Once again, it's just your fragments. They all have their own will. That's why you want to do this, they want to do that. You want to eat this, they want to eat that. You want the vegan diet, they want the burger.
Right? Oh my goodness.
It's like, look, this is not helping all of us. We need to agree on something. My goodness. Like, y'all do still live in this body, just to remind you.
Right? All of us gotta work together. We gotta come up with a schedule. Like, okay,
Yes.
we can do the vegan thing, but then a few times a week we can do some meat. And then for those of you, I don't know about you, but I know about me.
Compromise.
I have a candy and cake problem, especially cookies. I love cookies.
Oh, goodness.
My weakness in life. And ice cream. We can do that. We can have little snacks here and there throughout the week. Not binge eating on like a whole pack of cookies.
Child, try telling that to my fragments. Like, she'd be like, I heard you say you was doing a raw vegan. And then she comes to the surface and go in the fridge and eat anything that she see. They ain't trying to hear nothing.
Oh, they're like, John, did you hear anything I just said? Anything.
So this is just so interesting. Like, I love that we're learning about like multiple personality disorder from like a spiritual perspective, because people have labeled something crazy that in reality is just what it is. You have multiple people in one body. So yeah, there's gonna be different personalities, different desires. Like, they're their own person. I mean, yeah, it looks abnormal because it shouldn't be. They're not whole. So they're manifesting, attributes and relationships and characteristics and stuff where it's splitting. It's like a wow. So if only people just could see it for what it is, like it's just multiple people in one body. It's not always a demon,
Mm.
you know. That's so
Even though spirits
interesting.
can be like integrated with those fragment
Mhm.
parts, but I think that also depends on like that's where the SRA kind of comes into play. Like in my mind, like some as the trauma comes into play, and those spirits,
Mhm.
there's a lot more intricacies in
Mhm.
that matter. But yeah,
So I wonder like how the Lord, because you know things look different in the spirit. I wonder if when he looks at people who he knows have multiple personalities or different souls within them, does he see them as different people? The image I had in my head, which it may not look like this in the spirit, but I just saw somebody walking down the street with like 7 different heads. They all look different. That's how people actually draw the R for schizophrenia. That's interesting. That's probably
that
what he
may very
sees.
well be how he acknowledges them. It's like, okay, essentially speaking, all of you are supposed to be Brandy,
Mhm.
but due to, you know, everything that has gone on, I understand that you're not all Brandy.
Exactly.
You're now parts of her.
Mhm.
So, yeah,
Ooh,
sure,
I
me
do
too.
see. I see now how it's not just Dan. I mean, he's the main one. It's other people that talk about the inner healing. I see how now like if you were to try to like talk to one of them and because they may not even know they're a fragment. You gotta deal with that, or especially if it's like DID, like multiple personality disorder, where it's the actual personality. If you try to tell them that they need to integrate into the core, I can see how they could take that personally. Like, no, because I'm me. She's her. I've seen that. It makes me want to watch that movie, but you're sleepy. I want to watch. We still watch Pirates of the Caribbean. I need to write that. The poor.
We'll do it tomorrow. We'll have tomorrow to be like movie day or movie
Yeah,
review.
I want to watch Split again. That guy acted his tail off in that
James
movie.
did a beautiful job. It makes he probably some of his fragments probably came up
Ooh.
for him to act like that.
Yeah,
That's
you
too
gotta
perfect.
be. Dang. Unless he
Mm-hmm.
just really studied schizophrenics or something, and he pulled because they do train and practice before the actual
Yeah,
filming, so he could
yeah,
have
they do.
because he had them accents down. Like he's a perfect example of how like they literally believe they're their own individual person. Like
That reminds me of Hedwig, his personality Hedwig, the little boy. He had diabetes and he was yelling in the camera like whenever they were doing like their little camera time. He's like, "Why do I have all these fragments? Why I have wrestling diabetes and I gotta take this insulin and blah blah blah." That was
in the
so
movie,
funny. Yeah, of
was that
course.
Split or was that
Yeah,
the other one?
that
Oh
was Split.
wow.
He said that. He's like cursing it out. Like, oh my goodness, you're
That
so
is
funny.
so interesting. Like, so yeah, I guess the Lord, I guess people have not accepted like the spiritual reality. They are different people. It's not about forcing it medically to get people to accept that. No, they believe they're different. No, they are
No,
different
they
people.
like literally are.
That's what that is. I think the Lord will treat it as such. Like he would just
Mm-hmm.
talk to all of them like individual. Like it's not supposed to happen that way, but that's what happened. Dang.
So then I wonder as well, kind of taking it to that next step, like if you have other fragments that are doing stuff they're not supposed to be doing, like
We all
participating in
know I have
rituals
that
and stuff like
one
that,
or two.
if he doesn't, that's definitely like a foothold that's open to you because
Yeah,
that is a
because
part of
she's doing
you,
that. Mm-hmm.
but she's held responsible for what she's doing. So you wouldn't be fully held responsible for the actions of your fragment, but because she is you, that foothold and doorway would be open to kind of keep you in bondage.
You know what's so interesting about this conversation? Years ago, I don't even, but I think it was when I first started learning about the Jezebel spirit, like that I was dealing with that spirit. I just had a vision in my mind. Like I saw myself before like the judgment seat of God. And like that's when I was really wrestling with like that other personality. Because at that time, like when I was wearing makeup, I literally was like two different people. It was weird. And I would like constantly be crying out to the Lord about that because in my eyes, I was like, I'm just a backslider. I'm just disobedient. That's how I always saw it. And then he actually spoke to me one day. He said, it's not you. Then he started giving full blown revelation. But anyway, I saw myself like go before the judgment seat, like it was time for me to be judged. And I saw myself walk up to him, like I was my real self, and I was like in white. But there was another person that walked up with me that looked like me, but it wasn't. And I feel like he was gonna judge them individually or judge us individually. I wonder if that could be tied into what we're talking about now, because that's the whole conversation and why a lot of Christians can't accept that, because they're like, well, that doesn't make any sense, because in order for the Lord to judge you and for you to go, you can't be some of you in hell and some of you in heaven. Like, I don't know.
That would be a really interesting thing.
Because if the Lord knows you're dealing with altars, that would be unfair for him to judge all of you for what you weren't really intentionally doing. It technically wasn't you. It's a part of you,
But
but
it wasn't you. You weren't in agreement with it. Like
or
you
just the
weren't
whole
asking.
idea that because you weren't fully sanctified or healed or delivered, but you still tried to serve the Lord faithfully as much as you possibly could, that he would throw all of you away.
That makes sense.
I wonder how he deals with it. We can ask him. I'm asking him to show me in a dream, because that's a good question. I mean, knowing him, he's so this whole conversation of turning stones into bread. He probably could like let you get to the kingdom and just completely form a whole new party. Like, I don't know what he would do. Like that's maybe it's just a situation of like having that tree with like the broken twigs or certain branches. Like it was made with like
It
however many branches.
it had to be someone had to be pruned off.
Some of them had to be cut off, and they're gonna go where they go, and I can grow you another one. I wonder if he does stuff like that. That's probably how he would deal with that situation. Because technically, if you had a fragment that was just, especially if they don't want to get saved, you gotta factor that in with deliverance. A lot of them don't want to get saved. She's just gonna have to get broken off and go. That's really weird.
Then I wonder then how he would do that. Would that part be cut off of you, like, and just be put somewhere, like as you're still alive, or would that part still be active in you until you die, and then that's kind of when he kind of does the separation. You know what I mean? If you would still have to work out your life here in the physical, with that altar still being your altar and having those having it open, or if you would find a way to kind of shut that off and shut that down so that you wouldn't have those openings. I hope I'm explaining that right.
I don't know. I know for a fact my fragments have been responsible for. Well, I don't want to use the term double mindedness the wrong way now that we know what it really means, but the disobedience and the backsliding, it's always been due to them. I never I've always just wanted to serve and obey him freely. I'm not able to do it. I think he knows that. That's why he doesn't ever really punish me. He really doesn't punish me for anything. Not. Mm-mm. I wonder if there's anybody then that has ever just fully gotten restored, like fully integrated, reintegrated.
It's a good question to ask him. Lord, has anybody fully gotten themselves reunited and whole?
And I like how Brother Dan Duvall, he was saying how like your spirit and your soul. I was actually, was that the message we listened to the other day when he was saying how it's an inner realm? It's not just your spirit and your soul. It's actually in that dimension, the spiritual dimension. It's an actual realm. That's why spirits can engage with you in those parts, because yeah, because yeah, that was him, because he was talking about Hotel Jesus and how Jesus himself is like an actual realm where we abide
Mm-hmm.
in, and he was saying how your soul. That makes sense. That's not a crazy revelation, because that's what scripture says. I mean, why is scripture talking about us to be a house and that demons come and dwell there? So it has to be an inner realm,
Yeah.
especially for somebody to have hundreds of demons. Well, they're somewhere.
Yes. Yes.
If you
Yeah,
just
that
look
does
at it
make
like,
sense.
oh, it's just little old me, 100 demons can be in one body. Well, it's because they're not in your body. They're in that realm
They're
of
in
your
different.
soul.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then again, too, like with this whole thing of fragments, you could have been fragmented, and now you have 12 different dimensions for that one little soul piece, and then how many spirits integrated and entwined and beaten up those fragmented parts.
I believe that happens to me. I can literally feel that. That's how I always used to describe it. It's like somebody stabbing me and just torturing me, like being shredded. I do believe there could be some demons that are just torment, especially Jezebel.
I think Deanna had actually talked about that on a good podcast that I had listened to, where like literally they will, in order to get a certain fragment up to the surface, they, the spirits will do what they need to do, whether it be spirits or even like astral projecting, like witches and wizards who may be on assignment to that piece of you, if there is indeed, if that's the case, they'll torment that piece, the fragment, and to a certain extent where it'll actually come to the front, and that's where those random overwhelming feelings of X, Y, and Z come in, or maybe you act out X, Y, and Z, and that's what happens.
But I was at Epiphany's house. I don't know why the particular fragment just was coming up a lot when I was over there. She actually like encountered one of them. Like I would be just talking to Epiphany for like a few minutes, and then like literally the next minute, one of them would come up and she just started crying like uncontrollably, and she was doing it in and out for like 15 minutes. And Epiphany was just watching me, just like I didn't even understand what was going on, but I could feel like it was a piece of me. I'm like, she came up and was crying like she's been in this kind of, something's taking place with her personally somewhere where you can't see it. Like, yeah, it was a lot of hurt, it was a lot of pain and brokenness, but it kind of felt like the fragment is undergoing its own personal torment somewhere that you don't really have any, any part of it. And then like it would leave and it would subside, and then I would come back to the surface and I would just start talking to Epiphany, and then it would just come up again and she just started crying again.
I wonder what kept triggering her specifically with Epiphany to come up like that.
Yeah, it could have been something with Epiphany. Like we talked about it. I'm like, I don't know. You know what I find very significant? Like with you, I noticed when I was at Epiphany's house, anytime Epiphany would leave to go like be with her significant other, as soon as she left, as soon as she walked out the door, something just shut off and deactivated within me, and I got extremely lonely and sad. And it didn't have anything to do with her. It wasn't like an attachment, like, oh, I want to spend more time with Epiphany. It wasn't that at all. But I felt that with her. I don't feel that being here with you. It was something with her personally. I don't know. I don't know. I've never had my fragments just come up like that, except for like when I was at her place.
That kind of makes me wonder. You know how I told you at work with John, like I could feel like her attention towards me specifically, like, and how it was directed, and like the feeling that I got from her was very childlike, and it kind of made me. It makes me wonder. It makes me
Maybe
think.
that's the part of her that's like peekabooing with you.
Yes, it is.
Being
It's
nice to you and stuff that wants to be friends. Yeah.
yes, yes. That's definitely because too. I don't know if I mentioned it, but whenever like that kind of vibe that I was catching from her was kind of like when I would actually say like, "Oh hey John," she would kind of look at me like that popular kid that is talking to you that everybody likes,
I
that
know the
talks to
fragment's like,
everybody.
oh my god, she's talking to me.
Yes, yes. And even
Oh
too
wow.
lately, I've been noticing with her too. Like as we pass by, like she'll kind of look at me, and we'll kind of look at each other, but she'll get like that little light in her eyes
Yeah.
when she sees me.
Aw.
So yeah, I do feel like our fragments can indeed acknowledge someone else's fragment.
Yep. So that makes sense about John in general, or she doesn't really care to be bothered, or she was one of the rude ones in the beginning. She doesn't really speak and stuff like that. So that's dissociation. So that's why she's like that. Maybe she does have like a, you know, that's good. That means there's something positive about you that she feels like safe enough to kind of come out and like,
Yeah,
that
and
is so cool.
yes, because even lately, like she's been opening up too. She's like, "Yeah, I think I might take vacation next week and not be there because I want to work on my garden." I was like, "That's really random that you brought that up, but okay, you go work on your garden."
Aww.
So yeah,
You should definitely talk to her more
I
on the
actually
altar.
try to.
Yeah.
And the other ladies, I think they noticed that because like when I changed machines, I actually like worked right. I worked right next to her, they were kind of like, oh, still kind of making fun of me, but I was like, whatever. Oh, so you're gonna learn Korean now? You don't talk to us now that you like sit next to John. You're different. I'm like, y'all shut up.
Wow.
But yeah, I've definitely been trying to like make it more for her, to be like, okay, you can talk to me. I'm here to listen. No matter how
Hmm.
random you may bring up stuff, I'm random too. It's cool. I understand. So.
This is just so, I love this discussion because it's like now you can just kind of go out in the world and when you meet people and you engage with them, like it's just a question like how many times have we interfaced with other people's altars and not known it and maybe a part of them needed that hug or that conversation and you're not just dealing with like the surface individual like you think like everybody has altars so that's interesting. So yeah, like they
Mm-hmm.
say, always be kind, always be gracious, always be loving, and yeah, wow, that is so cool. Whew, that is deep. That's a lot of,
Yeah, that was a lot of.
and just even going back to my dream where the Lord showed like all of us together, just me, you, Kiamra, Chan, Paloma, Devis. That used to always be my question because I was thinking like the surface part of us. I was like, we don't seem to have a lot in common like that to where I feel like I can relate to them, but your fragments are subconscious. Like they're not there's not the conscious,
Mm-hmm.
core part of you. So they may need that, assistance and they could be friends with their fragments. Because I noticed like if you remember in the group, like whenever I would deal with Elise, I was really childish. It was always just like a funny, just childish, just like and I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
okay, if somebody saw me acting like this at 26, they'd be questioning. Like, this is a bit much. But I noticed like that was specifically with her. So it's like, nah,
Mm-hmm.
he's just tending. How many? It's like 7 girls,
Mm-hmm.
7 fragments, or
Yeah.
however many we have. Yeah. So,
That's what that is. I heard something moving. I was like, are there bubbles popping? Like,
oh
what's
yeah,
going on?
my
You're just,
foot.
your foot's touching that. Mm-hmm.
Wow.
But yeah.
Mm-hmm. It does make me want to be more intentionally loving to people on purpose. Wow. I mean, the Lord is busy. He got some work on his hands. Like just dealing with a whole earth full of people with split personalities. Like,
Right?
or
Because, okay, what, we're at 7 billion physical people.
how many spiritual people are we dealing with?
He's got a full schedule.
Yeah, he does. Like, and then like just like a child, I'm sure like when they cry out, he can hear that spiritually. So he's tending to them and making arrangements for them to get the help and assistance they need. And that just proves even more so that these bodies are just vehicles. That's not really the person.
It's just a physical manifestation of the person,
Hmm.
but not the full.
Do you think they look different?
I do.
Really? Like
Mm-hmm.
nothing like us? Since they're like parts of us and stuff, I wonder if they.
I think it depends. Like, I would say, like, how, like, there's the punk rocker, there's the
Mhm.
preppy person.
Mhm.
There's, I feel like to a degree, like, those kind of characteristics can, like, be shown through, but also, I don't know, maybe they can even alter, like, the way that they look, too, because, I mean,
The one that I told you about, with we're gonna have to give him a nickname, Mister.
oh, Grumpy Pants?
No,
Oh, no.
not Judas Junior. Not him. The one I had a soul tie with.
Oh.
I've her, and I know what I feel like because I'm the one experiencing it as a part of my consciousness. That's I actually wrote it that way in the dream. Like it felt like it was me, but it felt like it was another. Like yeah, Brandy was an altar. Like it wasn't fully you, but you were conscious because you were doing it. She looks like how I used to dress. I can feel it. Like she has long black hair, like the weave. Actually, if I could pull those pictures up, I wish I could show y'all. But she feels like that just a Jezebelian personality I have, and I was like 21. Feels the same exact way, everything. And I could feel like the few witch dreams that I've had with me just doing stuff in the astral realm. She still feels like, the 13, 14-year-old version of me, but she feels older. So I think they still look like us. I haven't seen one that.
Actually, this reminds me in my first dream journal. This was back when I was dating my ex. So, or maybe even a little before that. So it's been about 5, 6 years. But I literally had a dream where I think I was in the kitchen or something, and I was getting something, and I happened to look over, and just as you are for me, I saw myself, like another me, and I looked
That would freak me out.
just like me, and I was like, "Whoa! What happened here?" And
She
I
looked
forget,
at you and
like,
said the same thing. I'd be like, nah, I'm out. The Lord ain't here with me to go through this. I'm not dealing with this crap. This is creepy.
right? Which makes me think I really need to go back into my old journals and like see. I'm sure the Lord was revealing to me all kinds of stuff going on all the way back then, but I just like probably just wrote it down and threw it off. Just like, oh yeah.
Misha's Shanice is she's a part of our conversation. She was commenting. She said, "Let me see what time was it." So she said Brandy at first, and she was laughing. She said, "Oh no, we having healthy babies. I believe I was prayed for in my mom's womb, but still had to do some warfare on my own against certain generational curses. My co-teacher is pregnant, and I interacted with her baby for the first time." She said, "I hear you, Mel." Whatever you were talking about. Oh, she said, "Love me some ice cream and just sweets." She said he knows our hearts. He would somehow break off rotten fragments and sovereignly make sure we do what we need. Think about the thieves who hung with Jesus. They repented though.
Yeah,
Well, it wasn't both of them. It was one of them, right? One of the thieves repented, not the other one. No, the other one was kept mocking him. He's the one that got his eyes pecked out. He repented though.
I thought they both repented.
No, they. I don't think they did. Not from what I remember in the movie. I haven't like read the actual account scripturally, but no, one of them was still mocking. Yeah, because there was one dude who was like I think on his left, or I
And then
forgot
the other,
which.
yeah, because the one asked him, will I be with you in paradise or whatever? And
What Jesus looked like up on there. Like he didn't
you're
look like y'all.
still gonna.
Yeah, like y'all got crucified, but y'all didn't like undergo excruciating. Like you didn't have your whole body just ripped to shreds or anything. Oh, look at me in my double chin. But yeah, you didn't have like your whole body just like ripped to shreds. Like y'all just got nailed and that's it. And you still trash talking this man. I'll be surprised if the Lord could even still speak, which he obviously could if he told the guy that on the cross. But oh, she's still watching. She said, "Oh, LOL." So, so what were you saying, Nisha, when you said he would somehow break off rotten fragments and sovereignly make sure we do what we need? Uh, no, I don't think like before an actual deliverance session, I don't think he would do something like that now. Like they're still here doing what they do, whoring around the spirit realm. Cause I got a prostitute altar, y'all. Not a prostitute, but she's busy.
I feel like if you go through the deliverance process and he brings it to the surface, and say maybe after 2 or 3 sessions and just working with her and whatnot, that altar is still being stubborn and doesn't want to repent. Yeah.
Yeah. Oof. Honey, this is the spiritual twilight zone. We don't have the answers to these kinds of questions. Like,
We are still
What
trying to
what
figure things out
yeah, what would
ourselves.
Father, and then like that brother in Christ, Jed Baptist, that actually had the series on fragments, he pointed out how scripturally Jesus was fragmented due to what he was dealing with. I think it was a specific word in the Hebrew that meant shattered.
Shattering the soul.
He was like, "See, yeah, Jesus went through that." And everybody's like, I think he was just saying how like most people be like, oh no, that's not what that means. Like that is what it means. That's how it's used all throughout Scripture. It means shattered.
So
That
I
makes
wonder what the
sense.
Lord did then to
Hmm.
put Jesus back together then.
Hmm. The
Damn.
good thing about his fragments is that they were still not wicked, so he probably didn't have to do anything. He didn't have any sinful fragments.
No.
Yeah,
Oh
he's
man.
the Son of God. There is no
So he has
iniquity.
literally gone through every single thing a
I was
regular
just
human
thinking
being
that. Hmm.
has gone through because we all, again, pre-birth, have gone through fragmentation
Hmm.
to some degree.
Yeah. The idea of having multiple Jesuses would be funny. I mean, that's how the body of Christ acts anyway. They all serve
Right.
different ones.
Right?
That's crazy. Yeah, you never hear the Father talking about the soul of God. You know, how Jesus is soul, the spirit of God. Okay? We shall worship him in spirit and in truth. Okay? If you are one with Jesus, you are one spirit. There's no multiple Jesuses, okay? That would be funny.
Oh my goodness.
That's wow. Hmm. Yeah.
I'm gonna get one of the blankets off of my bed though. I feel like if I bring that in here, my PTSD is popping in, and it's like, oh my gosh, if there are bugs on the bed,
Girl, I ain't got them
they'll
bugs
be
so
on the
big. Just you'll
blanket,
be able to see that.
and then I'll bring them on the couch, God forbid.
Just shake it. Shake it in the room. I don't think that this is not gonna happen. They're huge. They're not bugs
They're
that you can't
huge.
see.
I know, right? But somehow they're like chomping up on a worm right here. Ooh, Lord. Jesus, I need some spiritual bug
Oh crap! So
spray.
you do need to sleep in here. That's gonna interfere with my writing. Crap.
I mean, I can try and sleep on the floor again in my bedroom.
No, you're gonna get eaten alive.
I mean, I'm already eating alive.
I'm so salty about that Bibi Bop meal. What the heck? Like they stuffed that when I ordered through DoorDash. I'm like, what the heck is this?
Yeah, I've been noticing that they've been doing that recently. Because usually they do, like, really pack it in there.
I looked at the amount of noodles she put in there, and I didn't say anything. But when I saw her put a pinch of bean sprouts, I was like, okay, now that's it. Put some more bean sprouts in there. Like this girl, the heck. I'm in love with downtown though. I wish I could get a job down there so bad. I freaking love it.
It's really nice. We'll have to go back down again.
And they clearly have houses around there.
Mm-hmm.
So I say, like, I'm gonna live downtown. I am. I'm totally gonna do it.
Ah! Alright, home.
Downtown. Downtown where the players play. Nisha, what are you talking about? She said Bimp Bop. No, Bibi Bop is like a it's Asian, right?
Yeah.
It's
It's
like
a Korean, inspired kind of Chipotle.
yeah, I was about to say it's like Chipotle.
Uh-huh.
So now you go to Chipotle and they like fix you a bowl. You can pick what you want in there. It's like that, but it has like the clear potato noodles, shredded carrots, chicken, purple rice, lettuce. It's good. Potatoes, corn.
Mm-hmm. There's the thingy if she wants to like.
Yeah, there you go, girl. We went there tonight. So if y'all want to get it, holla at a player.
Right.
Delicious.
And get some yum yum sauce. Oh my gosh.
Do not get the yum yum sauce.
Get the yum yum.
It's disgusting.
Yum yum.
Get the teriyaki sauce, because that sauce. Oh man. I don't remember it being that good. We went earlier this year. I don't know why. Like I just randomly, like I was on DoorDash recently. I was like, oh, what's this video? Because I kept going to like the healthy section, and it kept saying Baby Bop. I was like, okay, let me check this out. What the heck this is? And I just ordered it. And when it came, I was like, oh my god, it's so good. I'm not gonna buy anything else but this forever. Because I was doing the Piata Italian grill. Their pasta's still good though. I'm just like, I need to stop eating all them carbs though. Like it's good. It tastes authentic and it's the real deal, but still pasta. I'm in love with that freaking Korean place. Except, I got like multiple people in here, so we need to eat like for each one. Like so.
Korean food for one person.
Yeah, it's better if I get like two.
And then Mexican food for another person.
Oh, that's just bad. That's terrible. Don't talk about me like that, Mel. That is my reality.
Well, I mean, I'm going there. You went there, I'm going there too.
Look, one Alta, one KFC, the other one Popeyes, one on Sonic. That's terrible. Um. Oh, you were correcting my pronunciation. No, it's Bibby Bop. I'm telling you, it says Bibby Bop.
BB Bob.
Don't correct me. It's Bibby.
Bibby. Why are you calling it Bibby?
Cause it says Bibby. B-I-B-B. Bibby Bop.
I'm just gonna take care of my babies.
So what are you trying to say? How do you say it's pronounced again?
BB Bob.
BB? Says who?
B Bob.
How do you know?
B-I.
Who told you it was pronounced this way?
B-O.
Who told you it was pronounced this way? Just because you say, where is she? Yeah. Just because you say it's BB Bop does not mean it's BB Bop. It's Bibby.
Okay, look, we can end this fight quarrel by looking it up online and seeing what it's really called.
Go take care of your plants and let me worry about the name of this restaurant, okay? Bibby Bop. Tell her that this is Bibby Bop. It's not BB Bop.
BB Bob.
Baby Bop. They should have named it Baby Bop and sir, especially like with the purple cabbage and the purple rice. wait, no, she's green. Oh, I forgot she's green. Baby Bop is not purple. Barney is.
Yeah, Barney is. Wait, green was
She's green. Baby Bop is green. I think she has a purple tummy.
Oh my gosh, I like baby. No,
Baby.
was she yellow? No.
Baby Bop is not yet. Hold on a second. Let me maybe look this up.
Because there was the little baby girl, but then there was the little baby boy too.
Here who watched Barney. What did Baby Bop look like? She was green. She was a green dinosaur with a purple stomach. I'm telling you. Let me see if I can minimize this.